The planet X9 was known across the galaxy as a place of death. Volcanoes scarred the surface, spewing molten rivers that glowed red against the black sky. Jagged mountains rose like the teeth of some ancient beast. The air shimmered with heat and ash, and every life form that dared to settle here had long ago learned fear. But above the chaos, a fleet of alien ships hovered cautiously, their engines humming softly. The aliens were experts, explorers who had faced countless dangers in the stars, but even they approached this planet with caution. Their sensors were focused on one thing: the deadliest dragon in the galaxy. A creature so powerful, so unpredictable, that entire colonies had been wiped out in a single night. The aliens knew its reputation well. It was said the dragon could burn through metal with a single breath and tear apart the strongest ships with its claws. Any living thing on the surface was considered its prey. And yet, among the molten rivers and jagged cliffs, something unexpected moved. A small figure, no taller than a young alien's knee, walked calmly across the rocky terrain. It was a human child, barely 10 years old, with hair singed by the planet's heat and eyes that shone with a strange determination. The child had been separated from the colony ship when it crashed in the outer orbit. Alone and frightened, most would expect the child to hide, to run from the looming danger. But this child did not run. The aliens watched through their observation screens, blinking in disbelief. The child was walking straight toward the dragon's lair. Smoke curled from the nearby volcanoes, shadows stretched across the landscape, and the ground shook under distant eruptions. But still, the child moved forward, step by step, untouched by fear. Inside the ships, the alien crew whispered nervously. "It will be killed," one muttered. Another shook its head. "No living thing survives there, not even adults. How can a human child think to face it?" The camera-like sensors picked up the lair ahead. A cavern wide as a canyon, black smoke curling from its mouth. This was where the dragon waited, the apex predator of the planet. Its scales were said to shimmer like molten iron, and its eyes burned like twin suns. Every alien in the fleet knew that approaching this beast meant certain death. Yet the child walked onward, hands hanging at the sides, held high. There was no trembling, no hesitation. The child paused for a moment at the cavern's mouth, looking into the darkness where the dragon waited. A low growl echoed from inside, shaking loose stones from the cavern walls. Aliens froze, their antennae quivering, hearts racing. They had never seen such fearlessness. The suspense thickened. Every viewer, every alien watching, wondered the same thing. Why does this human child not run? Why is it not afraid of the most dangerous creature in the galaxy? The wind carried the smell of sulfur and ash, curling around the child like a warning. The dragon stirred inside its lair, its massive tail slamming the cavern floor. Sparks flew from the molten cracks beneath its claws. And yet the child took another step, calm and steady, as if guided by a force no alien could understand. From the ships, the aliens held their breath. Every instinct screamed at them to act, to intervene, to save the child from certain death. But they were frozen, watching in awe and horror. The impossible was happening before their eyes. A human child, small and fragile, was walking toward the deadliest dragon in the galaxy, and it did not seem afraid at all. Somewhere deep inside, the aliens sensed that this was more than bravery. This was something they had never seen in any species, something unique, something human. And as the child disappeared into the shadows of the cavern, the air seemed to still, waiting for what would happen next.
The cavern trembled as a shadow moved within. Rocks fell from the ceiling, and a deep rumbling growl echoed through the walls. From the darkness, the dragon appeared. It was enormous, longer than a small alien city, with wings that could block out the sun. Its scales shimmered like molten metal, glowing red and gold under the light of the planet's volcanoes. Smoke rose from its nostrils, curling into the air like thick black ribbons. Its eyes glowed with primal intelligence, staring directly at the small human child who dared to stand before it. The aliens in the ships above were stunned. Every sensor they had screamed danger. "Prepare the weapons," one alien commander ordered, its voice tight with fear. "We cannot let it reach the child." Another alien hesitated, shaking its antennae. "It's too late. The child is already there. It will die." Their minds could not comprehend the calmness of the small human in the presence of such a monster. Down on the ground, the human child did something no one expected. Instead of running, screaming, or trembling in fear, the child knelt on the rocky surface. One small hand reached forward, fingers outstretched in a gentle gesture. The other hand rested calmly on the ground for balance. The child's eyes, wide and clear, looked directly into the dragon's burning gaze. The dragon snarled, and the sound shook the ground beneath them. Sparks flew from the molten rivers, and stones tumbled down the cliffsides. Its tail lashed violently, carving deep grooves into the planet's crust. Smoke and heat poured from its mouth, curling into thick, stifling clouds. The aliens above held their breath, certain the child's life would end in the next moment. But the child did not move. The small hand stayed outstretched, steady as a rock. The child tilted its head slightly, as if trying to understand the dragon, not fear it. Time seemed to stretch. Every second felt like an hour. The dragon's eyes narrowed, examining the tiny human. Its massive jaws opened, revealing rows of sharp, glowing teeth. The cavern shook with the force of its breath. Yet the child remained, calm and unflinching, as if daring the dragon to act. From the ships above, the aliens whispered in disbelief. "It cannot be real," one said. "No creature this deadly would pause for a human." Another alien's voice trembled. "Why does it not attack? Why is it not afraid?" Every sensor, every weapon, every instinct screamed that the child should be dead, and yet the impossible was happening. The dragon's head lowered slowly, smoke streaming from its nostrils. It sniffed the air around the child, its glowing eyes studying every movement. Its claws dug into the rock, leaving deep scars. The child's hand remained outstretched, steady, trembling slightly from the heat, but the courage in its eyes never wavered. A distant rumble from the volcanoes seemed to echo the dragon's growl. The aliens could feel the tension crackle through their ships. Everyone knew the next moment could be the last. Would the dragon strike, tearing the child apart in a blaze of fire? Or was this moment, against all odds, something new, something no one had ever seen in the galaxy? The dragon inhaled deeply, smoke and ash swirling around its massive form. Its jaws opened wider, and for a moment, everything froze. The aliens, the volcanoes, even time itself seemed to hold its breath. And then, just as the dragon's teeth gleamed in the firelight, a subtle pause, a twitch of its massive head, showed a glimmer of curiosity. The child did not flinch. The small hand remained extended, steady, brave. For the first time, the dragon hesitated, not out of fear, but out of something else, something the aliens could not understand. For a long moment, the cavern was silent. The dragon's massive head hovered just above the small human child, smoke curling from its nostrils. Its glowing eyes, which moments ago had burned with fury, now seemed to flicker with something different. Curiosity, intelligence, something the aliens had never seen before in any creature. The human child took a slow step forward, calm and deliberate. With a soft voice, almost a whisper, the child hummed a tune that seemed ancient and gentle. It was a lullaby, unfamiliar even to the aliens watching from their distant ships, yet it carried a strange power. The dragon's ears twitched, its head tilted slightly, as if listening, trying to understand. Then, with the courage of a species that had long survived impossible odds, the child extended a tiny hand. Fingers trembled only slightly from the heat of the planet, but the child's gaze never wavered. Slowly, carefully, the hand reached toward the dragon's snout. The dragon's eyes narrowed, not in anger, but in intense focus. The aliens held their breath. Every one of them was frozen, unsure what they were witnessing. No species, no being in the galaxy had ever approached the deadliest dragon of Exile R9 and survived. And yet, here it was, a tiny human child reaching out in peace. The dragon sniffed, its hot breath washing over the child's small hand. The cavern seemed to grow hotter, the air thick with tension and the smell of sulfur. The child's fingers brushed against the dragon's rough, molten-scaled snout. Sparks flew from the dragon's scales, lighting up the darkness, but the child remained steady. The lullaby continued softly, like a thread weaving through the chaos of fire and ash. Then something miraculous happened. The dragon lowered its massive head until its snout gently touched the child's hand. A low, rumbling purr escaped from deep within its chest, shaking the ground. The aliens could hardly believe their sensors. This creature, capable of burning ships to ash, was responding to kindness. The child smiled faintly, eyes shining with a mix of wonder and understanding. Slowly, the dragon's massive head moved closer, nuzzling the child lightly. The gesture was simple, yet it carried a weight no one had ever imagined. Aliens watched, frozen in disbelief. Their minds reeled. How could such a creature, feared across galaxies, respond to a single human child? How could an empathy, bravery, and innocence tame what they believed was untamable? The cavern, once filled with the threat of death, now felt strangely calm. The dragon lowered itself onto the rocky ground, wings folding like a shadow over the lava-lit terrain. Its eyes, still glowing, now carried a softness, a spark of connection. The child continued to hum, brushing fingers along the dragon's snout and neck. For a brief moment, predator and human were equals, bound by a fragile trust that no alien technology could break. The aliens above whispered in awe. "It is impossible," one said. "No species could do this." Another shook its antennae, voice trembling. "It is human. Only a human could have done this." For the first time, the aliens realized that humanity's strength was not in weapons or numbers. It was in courage, empathy, and an understanding of life that no other species possessed. And still, the dragon and the child remained, two beings from entirely different worlds, connected by something invisible yet undeniable. The lava flowed nearby, the wind howled through the canyon, and the ground occasionally shook from distant eruptions. Yet in that moment, nothing could break the fragile bond forming between them. Suspense lingered in the air. The aliens could sense it. The impossible had happened, but could it last?
Could a human, so small and fragile, truly tame the deadliest creature in the galaxy? Or was this only the beginning of a challenge far greater than anyone could imagine? The dragon let out a low, melodic growl, almost a song of recognition. The child hummed back softly, smiling, and in that instant the unlikeliest connection in the galaxy was born, one that would change everything the aliens thought they knew about humans.
News traveled faster than light through the galaxy. Reports came from the edge of the Xylar 9 system, transmitted through alien networks, buzzing across communications channels. A human child, small, fragile, and seemingly powerless, had faced the deadliest dragon in the galaxy. Not only that, the child had not only survived, but had formed a bond with the beast. Alien colonies across systems erupted in debate, council chambers filled with voices, antennas shaking in disbelief. This is a threat, one alien argued. A human controlling a creature of this power could destroy entire fleets. Another countered, voice trembling. No, this is extraordinary. Humans are not supposed to do this. There is something unique here, something we do not understand. In the skies above Xylar 9, alien ships hovered, their sensors focused on the child and the dragon. The massive creature now moved with calm precision, recognizing the child not as prey, not as a threat, but as a friend and protector. Its eyes, still glowing like molten metal, carried a new intelligence, a spark that only humans seemed to bring out. The human child climbed carefully onto the massive back of the dragon, fingers gripping scales that were hotter than molten iron. The dragon shifted slightly beneath the small rider, wings stretching wide. Aliens aboard their ships gasped in disbelief as the dragon's massive form lifted into the air. The ground fell away, volcanoes shrinking beneath them, smoke trailing in long golden ribbons. The child held on, heart steady, eyes shining with wonder. For a moment, fear did not exist, only trust, only connection. The dragon roared, a sound that echoed across the planet and into space. Its wings beat powerfully, and soon the pair soared high above alien observation ships, leaving trails of firelight behind them. Sensors and cameras recorded every moment, capturing footage that would shock the galaxy for decades. Aliens whispered among themselves, stunned. "It cannot be. This is impossible," one said, voice trembling. "No human should be able to do this." Another shook its antennae in amazement. "We have underestimated them all along." Across colonies, screens flickered with the images, a tiny human riding the deadliest dragon, gliding above active volcanoes, fearless and unyielding. The message was clear. Humanity was not just another species to fear or ignore. There was something else, something extraordinary in their courage and heart. The dragon swooped low, circling around alien ships as if showing off its new rider. The child laughed softly, a pure sound that cut through the smoke and ash. The aliens could only watch, frozen in awe and fear, realizing that the child had done what no alien species could even imagine, earning the trust of a creature that had been feared for centuries. Back on distant planets, debates raged. Some argued for intervention, worried about what humans might do with such power. Others, reluctantly, began to recognize the uniqueness of humans, their courage, their empathy, their ability to connect with life in ways no alien could. The galaxy had always underestimated humanity, and now that mistake was laid bare for all to see. The dragon and the child soared together, a symbol of a bond that transcended species, strength, and fear. Below, alien ships struggled to keep pace, cameras and sensors recording every movement. The sight of the tiny human riding the deadliest dragon would be replayed across colonies for years, a message that humans were not to be underestimated.
even in the silence of space, the echoes of awe spread. The galaxy had witnessed the impossible. A child had faced a beast, earned its trust, and ridden it above alien fleets. Humanity's place in the cosmos was no longer a question of survival. It was a question of power, courage, and the remarkable force of their spirit. And for the aliens watching, one thought lingered. If a human child could tame the deadliest dragon in the galaxy, what could the rest of their species achieve?
The sky above Xylar 9 burned with the glow of molten rivers below, and the wind carried the roar of the dragon, powerful yet calm. The human child sat firmly on the dragon's back, small hands gripping the warm, shimmering scales. From every angle, it seemed impossible. How could someone so small command the trust of the deadliest creature in the galaxy? Aliens hovered in their ships, sensors tracking every movement. Every weapon system was ready to fire, every instinct screaming danger. Yet no attack came. Instead, the dragon flew with steady, graceful power, circling the alien fleet. Its eyes, once glowing with primal fury, now glimmered with intelligence and calm recognition. The child leaned forward, whispering softly, and the dragon responded, adjusting its flight with the precision of a creature that understood its rider completely. It was more than bravery. The child's actions showed cleverness and empathy that no alien species could match. Where technology failed and weapons could not tame, the child's small hands and gentle heart had bridged a gap that the galaxy had never seen. The aliens watched, stunned, as their assumptions about strength, dominance, and intelligence shattered before their very eyes. One alien commander, antennae trembling, spoke softly to the crew. They are not like us. Humans, they are something else." Others nodded in silence. For the first time, their fear mixed with awe. These creatures they had always considered primitive, weak, and fragile had shown courage beyond any of their own. The galaxy's greatest predator was no match for a human child's heart. The dragon let out a mighty roar, echoing across the volcanic canyons. But it was not a roar of anger or challenge. It was a roar of friendship, a declaration of trust and loyalty. The child's small hands rested lightly on the dragon's neck, and a smile curved the child's lips. The creature beneath them had once been a symbol of death and fear, yet now it moved with harmony and understanding. Aliens began to retreat, slowly, carefully, their weapons lowered, their sensors still recording the unbelievable scene. Some whispered among themselves, voices trembling with a mix of relief and wonder. "We have underestimated humans for too long," one said. "Their courage, their intelligence, it is rare, it is remarkable." From above, the child guided the dragon in gentle arcs and dives, showing trust in the creature and cleverness in movement that left the alien ship scrambling to keep pace. Each maneuver spoke not of dominance, but of understanding, an intelligence that no machine, no weapon, no alien council could replicate. Below, the volcanoes glowed like a heartbeat of the planet, shadows and light painting the scene in gold and crimson. The child and the dragon became one force, small and large, fragile and mighty, a symbol of something the galaxy had never witnessed: humanity. The aliens could only watch, realizing that no species could match this combination of bravery, empathy, and cleverness. Finally, the dragon landed gently on a cliffside, wings folding around the child protectively. The heat of the lava and the smoke of the volcanoes did not bother the child. The aliens hovered at a distance, their antennae lowered, their hearts filled with awe. The impossible had happened.
Humanity's remarkable factor had been revealed in full. And in that quiet, molten-lit moment, the galaxy was reminded of a simple truth. One small human, with courage far beyond their size, had faced the deadliest dragon and won its trust. The stars themselves seemed to pause, watching this bond of trust and bravery. Narration closed the scene perfectly. In a galaxy of fear and fury, a single human child reminded the stars what courage truly is. The aliens retreated, humbled, and for the first time understood that humanity was not to be feared, ignored, or underestimated. The child and the dragon stood together, a beacon of bravery, empathy, and the extraordinary power that humans carried within them. And somewhere deep in the stars, the galaxy knew that stories like this would be remembered forever. HFY stories of courage that inspire all who hear them.